And happy Tuesday. My name is Wendy Lee, and you can find me at CreativeLeeYours.com. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in the US and thrilled that you've joined me today for our paper crafting fun. Yay, 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 yay. So, if you're joining me when this video premieres, today is Tuesday, August 5th of 2025, and it's a big day, right? So, demonstrators get to pre-order today. So, we get to order all the amazing goodies that are coming our way. September 3rd, I believe, is when they're being released. So we've got the holiday mini catalog, we've got new online exclusives, all fabulousness. So it is a great time to be a demonstrator. So if you would like to get your hands on these amazing goodies early, let me know. We can hook you up and get you started on my Diamonds team. So if you've got any questions, let me know. You can also find details on my website, creativeleeyours.com. Now, we also have an in color sale happening. So the 2025-2027 in colors are on sale this month. So this is a great time to stock up on those new colors. Secret Sea, Cloud Cover, Timid Tiger, Strawberry Slush, and Darling Duckling. Those are our 5 new in colors, and you can get all those products discounted. I believe it's a 15% off sale during the month of August. Great. Awesome, awesome, awesome. To top it off, we've just updated the last chance list as well. So some of our favorites are retiring, and you're going to see some good discounts there as well. So definitely check that out. Now, you might be surprised to see a few past celebration items on the last chance list. So Stampin' Up! Is doing some big and exciting changes this year, and celebration is going to be no more. I know it's been our favorite time of the year for so very long, but it's time to change things up. And there are some super exciting things coming our way. So you may see those celebration items on the last chance list. Now remember, everything's available while supplies last. I do believe the celebration items will be pulled if they don't sell out. When the new releases go live in September, but I'm not sure how that all is going to work. We'll see it as it goes. Just know if there's something you want, get it before it's gone, right? We don't want you to miss out on anything, right? Oh, if you want to stay up to date on everything going on, be on my email list. Yes, in the video description below, there is a link to join my email list, and I'd love to have you join us. Every single month, I gift out a free tutorial bundle to my email subscribers, chocked full of fantastic projects for you to create at your leisure with the products that you own at home, right? Why not do it? So, all right, I'd love to have you join me. Let's go ahead and get the camera switched over for today's crafty fun. So today's project is going to feature the Impressions A Bloom Stamp and Die bundle from the online exclusives. So this is not in the annual catalog. You'll only find this in the online store. We've got so many great things in the online store. So if you haven't checked that out yet, it is definitely worth it. So this is part of the whole Floral Impressions product suite, which is what we're featuring in this month's All-Star Video Class Tutorial Bundle. So each and every month, myself and 11 of my friends globally get together and create a amazing, in my opinion, bundle of tutorials for you. And each one has, you've got the PDF with all the measurements in it and supplies, but the tutorial is actually a video. So you're going to get step by step on that. So today's project is my project for the Blog Hop, which is an additional project that we're sharing. So you're not only going to get the tutorial bundle ideas, you're going to get the hop ideas on top of that. So many great things you can do with these gorgeous, gorgeous products in this suite. So today's project we're going to do a tone on tone card that's got, I think, amazing texture just by simple steps, right? Simple supplies needed on this one. So we're going to go ahead and create this one. And one thing I love about it is it's an optional gift card holder, right? So anytime you make a card, you can tack a gift card inside of it. And now it's a gift card holder, right? So you could make a pocket and do all kinds of fancy schmancy stuff. But today we simply just glue dotted our gift card right at the top. And it makes a lovely gift for just about any occasion, right? Who wouldn't love this? Do you like it? I hope you do. So we're going to do a few different easy techniques to get us started here. So let's go ahead and grab our first step. Okay, so I'm bringing in a scrap piece of paper and my garden green ink pad in the leaf image. And then I've got my card base is 5.5 by 4.25. So the complete supply list and cut dimensions will be posted on my website as this week's blog post on Wednesday evening, because that's when the hop goes live. So it'll be a day before you're going to see it. So I'm going to take this amazing leaf image. I love the detail in that. It's okay that I didn't, stamp my perfect leaf right there. That's okay. And I'm going to try to rotate this as I go so that it looks like it was cut out of a larger piece of printed paper. Does that make sense? Right? I don't want it to look like I just stamped the edge of it, even though that's exactly what I'm doing. Right? So many good things. Now, if you're not familiar with the All-Star Video Class Tutorial Bundle, there is a new featured suite every single month, and you can earn it for free when you place a product purchase that is $50 or greater with me in my online store. You can also purchase the tutorials individually if you prefer. They are $15 and you can find them in my tutorial store on my website. So my website is creativelyyours.com if you didn't already know that. So you can find those there. So if you've got any questions or need any assistance, let me know. I think this is going to be good because I'm going to put my smaller card on the inside. You could go deeper in if you'd like, but I think that looks pretty darn good. What do you guys think? All right, so for my next piece, I'm going to have, this is going to be the part that actually opens. So this is 4.5 by 6.5, and I've scored it at 3 1/4. And this is garden green as well, cardstock. So let's just go ahead and fold that in half and run our bone folder along there. Great. So we can go ahead and adhere this right down to our card base here. Let's move our scrap paper out of our way for now. We'll go ahead and get that tacked in place. Yes. All right. Somewhat centered, right? We try to get it as perfect as we can. Now, next, I've got a piece of garden green that I have embossed with the Forever Plaid 3D embossing folder. Now, this is one of my favorites because I love the big size. First of all, that just makes me excited. And I've turned the cardstock so that my plaid is not straight up and down. It's more at an angle. So it allows you to create a lot of different looks with the same embossing folder, which I think is amazing. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere this flat. So I'm just going to run my stamp and seal across here and put this down in place. Now, I like skinny borders. You could do a wider border if you wanted. So in case I didn't say, this is 4 3/8 by 3 1/8. So love, 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 love. Okay, I wanted to add, so we've got a lot of texture going on already, right? We've got our stamped background, which has that distinctive stamp appearance, which I love. And then you've got your card base on top, and then you've got your plaid layer, and then we're going to add a little more with just a strip of designer series paper. So this is a scrap I had left over from something else I created. So this is 1 3/4 by 3 1/8. So, use what you've got, right? All these little pieces that we end up with can be used on our projects however we'd like to use them, right? Just adjust your measurements to work with what you've got from a scrap perspective. All right, so that's on there. Okay, next. All right, my next layer, I have used the textured note dies. Love these. Love that each rectangle has a different texture to it, and it just adds a really nice appearance to these die cut rectangles. So I'm going to pull in a rectangle here, and I'm just going to place it right on my card base as well. Let's pull in some of our dimensionals. Let's pop this one up. So here again, we're tone on tone, but we're bringing in all these amazing textures with our different elements, right? Stamping, embossing, some designer paper, some die cuts, all good, good stuff that gives us just a really nice look. Okay, so I've placed this kind of looking at the distance on these two sides is what I'm looking at. Does it have to be that? No, but that's what I wanted to do, so that's what I'm doing. Okay, I think I'm going to do my sentiment next and then build my flowers around that. All right, so I've got my black cardstock, so I'm just grabbing a scrap piece. I'm going to use my embossing buddy Get that all buddied up so that our stamping sticks where we want it to and only where we want it to. So I'm going to stamp the thanks right there on the center of that one. Perfect. Then we'll dip this down into our embossing powder. Shake off that excess. I'm going to go for one more dip, right? I get lots of debris in my embossing powders. Do you guys? Probably because I'm always scooping stuff in it. All right, so we've got that. Let's go ahead and heat that. So before you take your heat tool to your paper, you want to make sure that your heat tool is nice and warm, especially if you're using a darker cardstock color. So definitely heat that up before you take that to your cardstock. I find you get less discoloration in your paper when you do that. So we're going to just hold our heat tool about an inch, inch and a half away from our cardstock, and we're looking for that to start to melt. So once the powder starts to melt, hopefully you can see that happening, you're just going to slowly move the tool across the image until everything is melted. You don't want to overdo this process because if you do, it goes from shiny to dull, and that's not nice, right? If you go way too long, you're going to burn your paper as well, and we want to avoid that if we can. So let's go ahead and fussy cut this out. So I'm going to use my paper snips, and I'm going to try to stay in the depth of my scissor. I'm going to try to move my cardstock versus the scissor. I know. So you can get as close or as far away as you want. You can go as detailed as you want or as generic as you'd like. Now, I don't know if it works as well with photopolymer stamps, but I know on the red rubber, you can trace, and maybe you can on the photopolymer. You probably can. You can trace the stamped, the rubber or the excess around the image and use that as a guide if you're struggling with shapes, right? Or save your sticker sheets that come with the stamp sets, and you might be able to use those as a template as well. So I've got my lovely little sentiment here. Now, if you don't like the white haze, I've got a Swiffer duster. It's just a dusting cloth, right? The dry dusting cloth. And I am just going to use it to wipe away some of that haze from my embossing buddy, which I love, right? The more buddy you use, I think the better. I'm going to put a little bit of liquid glue on that sentiment. We're going to bring our card base back in, and I'm going to lay my sentiment where I want it to be. Now, you could pop this up. Ooh, I got a little too much glue on there. Did you see that ooze? That's why liquid glue and I don't get along always. I'm going to let that sit there while we work on our flowers and glue and dry a little bit. All right, so I'm going to bring back in these dies, and I've actually already die cut some pieces. So I've got this flower here, which is this large one. Now these are really nice because this die set is set up so that you can cut out the stamped image, just the outline, or you can add in the detail and cut them both together and not use the stamp part of it, which is what I've chosen to do today. You can do either. It gives you so many different looks. So I've got this flower here, which is that one. This small one is this one here. So that's Flirty Flamingo, Pool Party, Basic White. And then I've cut my flower centers from Pecan Pie. So I've got one large and two small, if I can find it. Well, I'll have to look for it. Might be stuck together. There they are. They were right there together. Two smalls. And then I've cut out 4 garden green leaves. And then a set of the Flirty Flamingo small flowers. So these 3 cut out all at once with this little die here. So, and then the leaves I used were these leaves here. So you've got 2 different leaves you can do as well and kind of change that up. So lots of little parts and pieces, but super fun, right? So for this, I'm going to bring in my silicone craft sheet because this is my best buddy, right, when it comes to adding some ink. So I'm just going to put a dot of glue. I know, you could use glue dots if you prefer. I'm going to put a little dot of glue, and I'm going to put that down. And I'm going to put this one over here. That one I don't need to do, right? I'm going to add some blending is what I'm doing. I could tell you that up front, but I didn't, right? So we're going to take this one. We'll put these over here because they're a different color. That's the only reason I'm doing it. Those I'm not going to mess with. They're too little. I don't want to mess with it. You could have blended before, but I wanted to let the blending kind of take on some of the texture from the dyes, right? I think that adds a really cool appearance. So, and the reason I'm gluing them down is just so that they don't move on me, right? Like I don't want them to jump around and be all crazy. So we've got this here. We're going to let that dry for just a moment, and then we'll start our blending. So while we're waiting, let's go ahead and do our card inside layer. So I've got the So Very Much stamped with pecan pie, and then these little florals adhered to my white layer. Okay, so here's our pecan pie. Let's bring in our white layer and our sentiment. There we go. Have you guys played with this bundle yet? I love it. So much fun. You know, we always say, oh, do we need another flower? Yes, we do. We always need the flowers, right? Oh, that's super crooked. Let's see if I do better if I flip it over. It might still be crooked, but we'll give it 2 tries. That's the good thing about stamping before you adhere your layer down. Oh, I did much better there. Yay. I like it when it turns out straight, right? Who else? Yeah. Okay, so now I'm just going to take some dots of glue, right? Just put in a little dot of glue here and there. And I am going to place those. Oh, I got 3 dots, it looks like. And let's see, where's my take your pick? There it is. Hoping I can use this to help me out with these placement. So we'll just set that right down on those little dots of glue. And get those little flowers in place. I have 4 of them I could use. Oh, no, I don't. I have 3. It just came back up. Too funny. Now that that's sticky, let's see if we can. There we go. And I'm going to see if I can straddle those dots of glue that I put down there. Nice. That worked out good. Now it won't be sticky. And let's go ahead and adhere this in place and hide our stamping mistake, right? Yes, if you took apart a card that I sent you in the mail, chances are you would uncover some mistakes that I have made. I am not a perfect stamper, right? It's handmade. It's okay. All right, so I think we're ready to do a little bit of blending brush here. So let's start, because I've already got pecan pie right here. Let's start with our pecan pie ink pad. And I've got a mini blending brush just because it's what I had handy. And these are such small pieces. So I'm just adding a touch of color to these. I don't care if it's on one side only. I just want a little bit of depth with that. So I think it elevates it just a bit to be able to do that. Again, you can use your large or your small blending brushes. It's entirely up to you. It's kind of fun to use these little ones. I like the big ones as well. So as you can see, I'm using a larger blending brush for this flower. And I'm just going around the tips, right? I just want a little touch of darkness around there just to give that a little bit of a highlight. All right, so we've got our pool party. Let's do our flirty flamingo next. Okay, move that out of the way, bring these in. And my silicone craft sheet is great because I'm going to be able to lift these right off, right? Because it resists that adhesive, right? This is part of one of the really cool things you can do with this. And also I can just rinse it, you know, put it under the sink and rinse this color off. This ink is going to resist it, right? Like it's so easy to clean it up. All right, so now I've got a touch of color on the edges of each one of my florals. Okay, so let's build our flowers. Let's use our example as a guide here. So I'm going to, let's see, let's take those and let's go ahead and pull out our dimensionals first. Can I use a full-size dimensional on these? Let's see, because I want these centers popped up. So see, I can just pull that right off my silicone craft sheet. And I'm going to pop that right down into my flower. Now, if you wanted to, you could crinkle this some and give these a little bit of depth as well. Now, and then they'd be fun to layer. So all kinds of good things that you can do with those. Now, when you put it in an envelope, it is going to go flat. But if you are going to hand deliver it, it's kind of nice. Now, I think this is too big. Let's see if we've got some minis. No, I don't see any there. Yes, I have a few minis. We'll pull in some minis. If I can put a mini on the back of there, I think that would probably be my better choice. Oh yeah, for sure. Let's get both of them. We're going to pop these little guys up. Why not, right? Looks like I took a backing paper off. Actually, I'm wondering if this one only got backing paper. Yeah, it's only backing paper that I put on there. Let's try that again. Ooh, little pieces. Tedious. Or it can be tedious. I love it though. I love all the detail, right? That's what we're doing. We're elevating our project with all this little detail. So we've got that lovely tone on tone, the richness of it, and then we're popping up or adding on these lovely florals in here, which I think are just wonderful. Okay, so I'm going to take this. I'm going to grab my leaves, and I'm going to just kind of hold them together like this. And I'm going to put a dimensional just to grab the tip of it. And then I'm going to slide it underneath my flower where I want it to be. And I need that dimensional to be covered. So that's why I wanted to go out a little bit, right? So let's grab 2 more leaves and do the same thing. I'm going to offset them just a little bit. And again, we'll grab the edge. Hopefully you guys can see what I'm doing. So I've got an overhang of that, and that's okay. So I'm just tucking these back in that flower there. So let's go ahead and add another dimensional on this other side. Let's go ahead and add 2. Why not? Why not? Now, I want to leave, well, I don't want to push it down. Let me say it that way. I don't want to push this all the way down just yet because I want to be able to slide my pool party and my white florals underneath. So I'm going to lay this down, but I'm not going to give it a press, right? So I want this in, and I want it to make sure I can still see my thanks, right? I don't want it to interfere with that. So I'm going to set that down. Then we're going to bring this guy in. I'm going to add a little more liquid glue to the back, right? I could go out on the petals and do all that, but I don't really need to. I'm going to slide this in. Now you're fine to go over the edge over on these 3 sides. Don't go past your edge up here because that's the part of our card that opens. So anything that overhangs there is going to kind of get a little bit crushed, right? So we don't want to do that. So now I can give these a push down. So that's in place and that one's in place. And then let's add a little liquid glue to the back of our white flower center here. And then we can tuck this one back in here a little bit. Let's see if I can lift that petal a bit, and I'm going to slide it in just a smidge, right? So it doesn't matter how I place these. I can move them around a little bit if need be, but just watch that you don't overhang this edge here. You can come out again on all the other sides you want to come out, and it's beautiful. Okay, let's add some of these lovely matte dots. What are these called? Neutral matte dots. Love them, love them, love them, love them. I love it when you've got, you've got your black, you've got your pecan pie, and then vanilla and white. Vanilla and white are super easy to color. So a lot of times when I'm using something like this, I run out of one color, right? Like it depends on my mood, right? So I might say, oh, I'm really into these black ones, and I use all my black ones and I don't have any left. So then I come back and I take you can take your Stampin' Blends markers and color them, or you can take a Sharpie, right? Depending on what color you're doing. But I love that we can take our Stampin' Blend markers and color them to make them coordinate. What do you think? Do you love it? So you could mix and match this. You could do any color, this in any color that you wanted to, but I thought the richness of the green and pulling in the textures really helped these flowers pop right off our little card here. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this one. If you're enjoying the content that I'm sharing with you, please give me a thumbs up. It helps my channel. And don't forget to invite your crafty friends to come join us on Tuesdays for our paper crafting class, right? I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I can't wait to see you guys again next Tuesday, and bye for now.